Hello, everyone. Very good evening. How are you? Once again, we are back with another India Spark live talk show. This is Rupa Tanti, the founder of India Spark. So, India Spark is a platform connecting students and young professionals with the global industry leaders across different domains in order to develop and empower the workforce ecosystem in India. So we are happy to also inform you that till now we had a wide academic outreach of 1500 plus colleges within 20 plus states and 2500 plus schools across India. So today the topic would be revolving around Industry 4.0, online learning platforms and jobs. And the eminent speaker for today's session is Dr. Ankita Singh, who is a senior vice president and the global head of HR, IT, travel and admin at Signex Datamatics. We welcome you for the session, Dr. Ankita.
Thank you so much, Rupa. Thanks so much for inviting over. It's a pleasure and honor to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, before moving on to the session, a small announcement from our end that there is a lot of requests for the e-certifications of the sessions till now we had been organizing. Audience, you please go to our official LinkedIn India Spark page. They would be also we will be providing in the chat box the Google form. Kindly fill it with your correct details, with your correct surname and the first name and the last name, because that actually creating a lot of problem while sending the e-certificates, the name issues that most of the participants are having. Please kindly correct your things and go to the link which will be given shortly in the chat box. Go there, click on to the link and fill the form, and also please like and subscribe the our LinkedIn official India Spark page. Okay, now going to moving ahead with the session, I would like to give a crisp profile summary of the speaker's profile. So Dr. Ankita Singh is a senior vice president and the global head of HR, IT, travel and admin at Signex Datamatics. She has over 19 years of progressive experience in managing and leading various aspects of human resources, spanning across high-paced business domains of ITES. In addition to all functions of the HR, Ankita oversees other enabling functions like administration, travel, and resource management. Ankita holds a PhD in management and also a gold medalist in BBA as well as an MBA. She has done HR and business strategy related executive management programs from IIM Ahmedabad and ISB Hyderabad and XLRI. Recently, she had been awarded among the Forbes India's top 100 Great People Manager by the study conducted by GMI India. Apart from this great recognition, Ankita Singh has also successfully completed one of the most prestigious certification from the Harvard Business School online on the topic sustainable business strategy. That's really great of you, Dr. Ankita. She has been recognized in different prestigious platforms for her contribution and excellency in the field of HR and leadership. She was awarded CHRO of the Year 2020, 2019, 18, and 17. Women Personality of the Year 2019, 18, and 17 by Femina. Most Influential HR Leaders of 2017, Most Influential Corporate Personality 2019, Indian Business Women of the Year 2019, Year Indian HR Champion of the Year 2019, Women Leader of the Year 2019, Inspiring Personality of the Year 2019, Most Influential HR Leader of the Year 2019, Best Employee Engagement Project Designer of the Year 2019, just to name a few. In fact, Ankita, I had, have to remove because of the fixed time frame most of your awards from the list.
I'm happy about it.
Apart from her professional excellency, Ankita is very, very active in supporting social causes by working closely with various NGOs on child education and development. She is a passionate photographer too. We welcome you once again to the session, Dr. Ankita. And we would like to hear you a few words about the company's profile of what does a Signex Datamatics do? How do you operate? And from your HR perspective.
Sure. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot, Rupa, once again for calling me and giving me this opportunity to interact the most favorite lot of our fraternity. I think students, they are the heart of our function, and it's a pleasure that you have given me that today I'll be able to interact with them, will be able to understand their perspective and probably learn a lot from their point of view. And once I go back to my organization, we will be able to modify a lot of things what I understand from you guys here. So when I talk about my company, as Rupa just mentioned, I work for Signex Datamatics as a senior vice president. I take care of most of the enabling functions, which includes HR, admin, and other functions. What we do at Signex, I have a small presentation. I thought, it will help you to understand what we do in our organization, what are the technologies we master in, who are our clients, what's the growth chart of the organization. So tomorrow, if at all anybody wants to join the organization, probably they'll have a little clearer picture about us. And needless to say, if at all you want any further information, you can definitely get in touch with me directly. So I'll quickly share my screen. Just give me a second. Yeah, so I hope it's visible to everybody. Rupa, you can see it?
Yes, Ankita.
So we are not a very big organization. We are part of Datamatics. In total, we are 11,000 employees. And when I talk about Signex Datamatics, I feel amazing working with Signex Datamatics, and I'm a proud CDI. And reason probably, and that's why it's there on my first slide, that we have been certified as Great Place to Work for last 4 years in continuation, which clearly shows that no matter how well or okay we do in business, our priority definitely remain, as our employees and our resources, our people, our team members we work with. So culture is really important at Datamatics. People are the most important person, and along with people, we work around and we grow together when we talk about business. The only focus is definitely never on business. So these are a few recognitions. I'll skip a lot of slides because obviously it will not be the right time. We will be eating up actually a lot of time if I go in detail. So I'll just cover a few things which will be of your interest. If at all tomorrow you want to join the company or you would want to know more about company. So these are a few of our technology partners: Liferay, MongoDB, UiPath. Anybody who is from the technical background or people who are interested in technology, they would be able to relate to Salesforce, MuleSoft, Edcast. So these are few of our technology partners. A little bit about our digital transformation services. You can see portals and collaborations, big data analytics, QA and mobility, automation, which is AI, ML, where a lot of people these days are seeking to explore, and they definitely want to do so much and learn so much in AI, ML. Few of our products. which you can just have a look. I have added few, and you can see the website details at the bottom. Please feel free to explore a little more if at all you want to know more about the organization. Few of our clients, we have 200 plus clients across 15 countries, and good reputed, and they have been with us for a very long time. When we talk about organization, as I said, we are a people-centric organization. We definitely believe in processes, but we understand that processes should be defined and aligned to individuals' need. We are today in a time zone where we cannot say that general things would work. We have to understand individuals, we have to understand the nature, requirement, need of an individual, and we have to work around it. In Signex, we are fortunate to be part of it because everything is very much employee centric, keeping two things in mind: that we should never, ill treat or make things difficult for our employees, and at the same time the processes are such that they are enabling our people and at the same time helping our business grow. This I have already covered. These are few of our offices and pictures. A very important slide for students. This is the growth path that we have defined. A lot of people would have presented, you would have seen that we generally put years around it. So you join as a trainee, after 2 years you'll become associate consultant, after 3 years you'll become consultant. We do not follow that. Our performance management, our promotion system is very clear. It's very role based and performance based. So if at all you are a fast tracker, nobody can stop you in our organization. If at all you have that willpower, if you have that passion that I want to learn quickly and I want to grow in the system, probably Signex Datamatics is the right place, because it's definitely not about years of experience. It's definitely not about your age, but it's completely your contribution, what value you bring to our organization, and how passionate you are about the role, and at the same time, how ready you are to accept the changes and grow with the growing organization and change with the changing time. So work-life balance, as I said, everything revolves around our employees primarily, and because we enable them so well, we hardly face any problem on business side, and that's the key mantra for Signex Datamatics. These are a few of the funny these pictures just that I added. At Signex, we have always believed that it's not just business or people. When you're working, when you are part of a community, you have to ensure that you give it back in some or the other manner. So this is what we have done. These are the books. These are the books written by our employees just to support the community. These are all available online for interested people. Yes, another core thing as part of our value and culture. As I said, when you're part of community, you have to contribute. At the same time, you're part of the society. When you are using everything around you, when you are capitalizing on resources around you, at the same time, you have to put your mind and heart in one direction, which is doing something for people who are not directly impacting you or your growth. So, it has to be more selfless. We are quite active. You can see joy of living and joy of giving is something that we do. Donation to Indian Cancer Society. Then we do donate walks, which is in association with Green Soul India. And at employability level, we have this initiative which is known as ASHA, where we identify there are a lot of females who are sitting back at home. How can they get into small things which can, definitely contribute to the society, and at the same time enable and empower them to live a better life. That's where we help economy. At the same time, environment, that's our second focus, and third is social, where we identify villages and we help them with solar lights or power. So these small initiatives, I know probably not possible to do at a multifold level throughout the year, but whatever is possible or whatever, looking at the strength and the limitations of the company, or looking at the scenario, whatever best we can do, we have been doing it, and we intend to continue doing that. So this is little about the organization. If at all anybody is interested, if at all you seek any kind of help where you think I on my or my organization can help, this is the ID. You can send your details to this. You can directly write to me on LinkedIn, and I have already shared the website details. So do explore if at all you think it can help you in any possible manner. So this is a little about the organization. Now, as I can see, and as Rupa also mentioned, that we have most of the people who are attending are students. I would want to start with a simple question: how many of you are really worried about future? The topic itself says the Industry 4.0, future of online learning and jobs, which we will definitely cover. But just wanted to understand, and if at all, I can see a few replies in this live chat window. How many of you are really worried about next 3 months, 4 months? So I can see everybody, even adults too. Absolutely, I'm equally worried. There is so much of uncertainty everywhere that we don't know where we will be after a week. Naveen, Anu, Komali, yes, we are worried about surviving the pandemic. Absolutely. So we all know, we are all in the same boat. We know it's directionless. We know it's all very vague. We don't know which side to go. We don't know if at all we keep sailing where we will reach. We will ever reach our destination, or probably we are just sailing and we are just not going to any specific place. That's the dilemma we are all in, and trust me, it's normal. If at all I tell you that I have a job at hand and I do not get to hear from my chairman that Ankita, tomorrow will be your last working day, or Rupa would say this is my business, nobody can definitely tell me that I don't have a job. This is a myth. We would be lying. We are equally worried about the situation at this point in time. Why I ask this question? Because it's really important, especially for class of 2020. I know nobody in this world is getting more impacted or more worried than you guys. And one thing which I would say, I'm not saying that it will drastically improve in next 3 months, or by August when we actually assume that we will get our offer letters or appointment letters, it will be a very systematic approach and things will be better by then. No, I'm definitely not saying. But one thing which I definitely want to tell you and want you to realize, want you to accept is we are all in the same position. It's not good for anybody. It's not that people who are already working, they are not scared. It's not that you are the only person who will be penalized because of this pandemic. So accept one thing which is positive: everybody in this world, on this planet, knows that what we are going through, and you will not be the only person who will face the negative impact of it. So tomorrow when you join a company, when you meet head HRs, you think, if at all I'm sitting back for 3 months, when I join they will say, where were you for 3 months? Nobody is going to ask those questions. So that should definitely not be a worry. It's known to everybody and nobody can change that. Like everybody, most of us mention, yes, we are worried. It's worse than previous recession. That's the fact. We never in last 100 years, I don't think we were ever hit in this manner, but things will improve. Probably not very soon. So I definitely, before I hand it over to Rupa for further, I definitely want you to keep two things in mind. One, everybody is in it and you are not the only person and you will not be penalized. Definitely you have been hit really hard and you don't know where our future is going, but that's okay. Give it some time. We are all there for you guys. We understand your situation. Second point that I want you to understand: while you are back at home, when you know you cannot physically go and join a job, please invest really well in yourself. Do not sit back, do not get influenced by people who are around you just saying that things are going haywire, we don't know where we will be after 3 months, just wait and watch. Please don't wait and watch, just try and become the best version of yourself, so that tomorrow when things are normal, you can immediately stand up and say that, you know what, I'm prepared. If at all there is 10 openings, or there is just one opening and I have 10 people standing next to me, trust me, Ankita, I'm the best one, because I have invested really well and I know what's the need of the market. So these are the two things, please keep in mind. And social media, Rupa is doing so much. Social media is there, you can connect with all these individuals, your mentors, your seniors, professionals. Please seek guidance, ask relevant questions, connect with them, understand what's happening. One is, we can say that we didn't do anything, and second is, if we say we didn't know anything, or I don't know anything what happened in last 3 or 6 months, that will be a miss, a complete miss. So I can accept, probably everybody will accept, that you couldn't do much about this scenario. But if you say, I don't know what was happening around me, I didn't put any effort in upskilling myself, nobody will ever accept that. So just invest in yourself, and keep yourself calm. Everybody is into it. So yeah, that's the opening remark. Over to Rupa.
Yeah, it's so nice of you, Dr. Ankita. Uh, yeah, before moving ahead, I just, audience, just keep on, adding on the chat box till now. How was the session? We would like to see, even Ankita, speaker, would like to see that. And one more thing, I would like to inform you, Ankita, that till now you have 100 plus likes, and 280 is the live attendees. And only in the first 20 minutes. Yeah. Moving ahead, Ankita, keeping employees engaged, driving productivity is one of the HR's most valuable roles, right? So how is the HR team of Signex Datamatics contributing to it?
So Rupa, primarily if I talk about current situation, we went ahead in a very phased manner. So immediately when you are hit, you are worried about your business. How will we survive? Probably that was not our approach. As HR of Signex, we gave first and foremost priority to our employee safety. So probably initially we were just talking about employee safety. Before even lockdown was announced, we ensured all our employees are working from home. Fortunate enough to be a part of IT sector where we can afford to work from home, but it also matters how proactive you are. You actually want to wait till the last date when you're forced to go home, or you proactively decide that these are my employees, and because situation is not good outside, can we proactively move them to their work, to their base location, or they can start working from home. So that was our first move, and that's the approach I would say a CDHR went ahead with. Second, we ensured that they are mentally at peace. They know that their family members are safe, they know that they are back at home, they know that they don't have to worry about getting up, getting ready, and going to work. Third was where we ensured that they are enabled, that they have their laptops or desktops at their place, they have good internet connectivity, they are ready, they have taken care of everything which has to be taken care at their home, and now they are ready to get back to work. So actually business came as the fourth step in our this phased manner, where once we were very sure that everything is up and running, safe and sound, then we told them that start working. So CDHR, if I talk about, as I said initially also, we are very, very careful with respect to our resources, because when we keep saying as a tagline that CD is a family, we want to ensure, we want to tell them that business definitely matters. We will be able to cover it up little later when things are better, but we can definitely not compromise on our employees' safety and well-being. So that's what we did. And even now, after 4 months, we thought we will be at survival stage, then we will go to continuity stage, then we will go to productivity stage, and very soon we will be at sustainable stage, because being an IT company, and because of this model where we still want to think about our employees first, we are still struggling between survival and continuity. And we are happy, we are okay with it. We are okay to give it a little more time, till the time things are much more stable and people are comfortable. You are on mute, Rupa.
Moving ahead, Ankita, do you think this online learning platforms are way to go ahead, or is just a temporary COVID-19 times things only?
Online is not going anywhere. It's not going out of our chart. Online will be the first thing, if at all you want to write what will be the essentials, what definitely will be required going forward. Not only training, be it performance management, be it communication, collaboration, online will be the thing. So it's definitely not about COVID. Probably COVID has, it has pushed everybody, that something we targeted to achieve in 3 years, we managed to get it in our system in 3 months. So that's the only change, or that's the only, probably I would say, push a COVID has given. Otherwise, online was there, online is there, and it will always remain, in the system. It will further grow at exponential speed. Today, if at all, most of the companies, even today, 30% of the companies are not throughout online. But if at all you talk about 2025, 2026, I'm 110% sure that more than 60% companies will be completely online. So it's not only about training, and it's definitely not about COVID. It's here to stay.
So, what are the online platforms the organizations are providing among their employees?
So online platforms, because now employees are working from home, so you talk about e-learning, something like Talent LMS, or Kitabo, something that we are using. For engagement platform, you have Groupie. Then for performance appraisal, you have different platforms. For productivity, just to ensure that you are able to assign tasks to your employees and you are able to get the output. For your meetings, you are using a lot of platforms. So I think earlier, when we were physically working from office, our primary focus was on training, wherein now it has really moved from training to probably all aspects. When you talk about connect, collaboration, or communication, everything is getting introduced through or managed through online platforms. Rupa, I'm getting a couple of questions here as well. So can I pass?
We can take up in the last 10 minutes once
Sure.
we are done with this. Okay. So, other thing is that moving ahead, Ankita, I would just like to understand what is Industry 4.0 is all about, and what does it mean to you?
I think in our initial, or just a question before, we were talking about online. Industry 4.0 it's purely about going digital. So right mix of your digital enablement with your traditional culture. So whatever you do in your organization, because it is around your value system, it's around your mission and vision statement, probably the traditional core value or the traditional content may remain same. But when you talk about Industry 4.0, it will be completely digital. You will be using digital platforms, you will be using technology to ensure that all our processes, services are run through it. So if at all we categorize, if you read a little more in deep, it says that it has to be smart. Smart is the word they have used. They say there will be smart companies, organizations, there will be smart products, there will be smart services, because we have students, and they will be able to relate how smart it would be. So today when we log into Netflix and we watch two movies, next time when we log in, it says most recommended for you. So that's the strength, or that's how it will be. You prompt a word 3 times, and probably anything which is closer to that, system will start suggesting it to you. There will be smart industries, there will be smart factories, there will be smart products, and services is something which will align all these things in a line. So this for me is future industry 4.0. And definitely for me as a HR person, or for anybody, for students who are here, you have to be a tech savvy. You have to understand, if at all we are talking about HR, if at all you're talking about any support services or enabling services, and we think because I'm in HR, I should be good with people management, I should be good with organizing trainings or Excel sheet. It's a old story, or a requirement which doesn't even exist. Probably that can be an add-on, but if at all you do not know primarily how to relate or work around the data that you are getting on daily basis, when we talk about people analytics, or we talk about work analytics or culture analytics, if at all you are not able to relate to it, what technology is giving you, you will not exist. And Rupa, I mean, when we say technology, because it's going to be real time, if we are not there, if we are technically, or we are not at that level, probably we will see more failures in even the smallest function of the organization. So yes, I mean, for me, if at all I have to say it in 2 words, one, I would say it's going digital, and second is being smart.
Yeah. So next question, Ankita, will keep in other way. I'll give this question to the audience. You also could view in the chat box, and the last you can give your answer for that. Okay. So the next question is for the audience. Which sectors will you think will have a huge impact during this COVID times, and which sectors will recover fast? Type your answers in the chat box quickly. Quickly, which sectors would be affected during COVID times, and which IT sectors would recover? Ankita, you also could view the chat box. How we could, yeah, IT and health sectors. Okay, retail, manufacturing.
But they need to write that, are they talking as in, okay, they will get impacted.
Yeah.
Construction.
Okay. Please to mention which would be affected, impacted, and which would recover soon. IT and health. Okay. Health sector. Education. Okay. Health. This talks much about that education and health would be the sectors which recover soon. Affected would be the daily wage workers. Very good. Student from Wells Institute. Manufacturing sector. Okay. Okay. More responses. Audience, type quickly. Time is running out. IT will affect. Okay.
Education and daily wages.
IT and health. Okay. Hospitality is gone. Okay. Princeton Academy. Okay. That's it. Any more responses? Okay. Now, Ankita, you can take over this and answer.
So if we purely go by numbers, initially we saw agriculture, IT, pharma, they were not highly impacted. If I take first 50 days, the percentage as per McKinsey report, if you remember or if you refer, it said that first 3 sectors that I just named, they were impacted by 10 to 15%. But in the same 49 days, when you talk about aviation, which was impacted 75 to 80%, which is amazingly high. When you talk about auto, auto sector, or construction, or tourism, or hospitality, as so many of you have mentioned, education and power, these were two which were lying in the middle, because power, obviously, people are still using at home, probably at offices. It's not being used at an extensive level earlier that it was used. Similarly, education, it got affected because students were sent home, classroom training stopped, but education sector adapted really fast, probably the fastest. They understood the need, the urgency, and they quickly adapted and moved to a digital format. So they are already picking up most of the colleges or educational institutions. If you ask them, they say it's not only about COVID, but we will be working like this probably throughout. We will definitely find a right mix. So whatever you have said, I'm really happy that it's very much in the same line. Now when you talk about who will bounce back really fast, I think aviation was impacted drastically. 75 to 80% is what the report quoted, but I think they will bounce back at the same speed, because again that comes as a necessity. When we saw that planes were started, people started immediately traveling. Few wanted to reach their family members, few were traveling for business purpose. So that will definitely bounce back really fast. So aviation for sure, and education. So these will be two of my choices.
That's really a great thing. Ankita, moving ahead, how much percentage as a HR leader you would be giving for the online certifications?
Difficult question, Rupa. Depends on the relevance and need of that certification. So if tomorrow a student comes to me and says that I have done my MBA from and my key subjects were HR, and I'm here with a marketing certification because during COVID time it was available in that free online thing, and I appeared for it, and I have three of such certifications, I don't think HR would be able to consider. But if at all it's from a recognized institution, I'm not saying from Harvard or from IIM, but any recognized institution which is known for giving valid certifications, if at all it's from a valid organization or institution. And second, whatever is your core skill set or your expertise, whatever role you are already into, or the job that you are seeking to get into, if at all it relates to it, if at all there is some kind of relevance and a reason behind why you went ahead with that certification, definitely HR will consider. So it's definitely not about e-certificate or a classroom training. It's about the relevance, value it gets to your CV, and the work that you will be handling, and the reason why you selected and why you went ahead with that certification.
Why is a digital transformation more than anything in the HR, even than the technology?
Because you are dealing with people. When you are talking about technology, when you're talking about technical stuff, you can always work in a set format. When today you are dealing with people, we are already so much stressed out. People are multitasking. Earlier we used to talk about work life balance, where employees used to go to work from 9 to 6, and then they would say, or even managers would say, after 6, please give some time to your family. So that's how we used work life balance. Now it's work life integration. When you are at home, there is a very high possibility that you will get a call from your office at 10 in the night, and they would say, we want you to be on a call for an hour, and you can't say no, because that's the need. Everybody is working, and that's the probably negative aspect of going digital to this level. But as I said, you can't run away from it. That's the need. You are part of that ecosystem, and you have to adjust to it. So why HR needs to enhance and adapt technology at a very fast pace? Because one, you have to rely on numbers. not on your emotions, and only technology can give you real time numbers. So just quoting a small example, earlier when we used to do feedback sessions, covering 8,000 employees, giving them those papers, getting them back, doing a data entry, then going ahead with some survey analysis. So we used to conduct survey in March, and we used to tell them that this is what we found out when in the month of August. Probably everything would have changed by then. So whatever strategies, initiatives we will propose then, that will be something that employees expected in the month of March. So we are already late. So there are a lot of such things when we want to do a performance based scorecard based analysis or comparison of your employees, when you want to understand their well-being, when you want to understand their training needs, what is there in the market, and how far they have reached, your employees. For all these things, everything is moving or changing so fast that real time information or action is the only thing which will help you in surviving. And that is practically, logically just not possible without technology. And with the help of technology, if HR can take care of people, as they rightly say, that they'll take care of your business already.
Ankita, tell me one thing, that performance management is based on people, not metrics. I agree with it. Do you agree with this? And share your thoughts on this.
I don't know. I strongly agree that there's a very difficult phase. It's not only because of COVID, but if at all in general we talk about performance management, there will never be a black and white. You will always have a gray. When I say gray, I mean to say you will have a common space. So it has to be a mix of matrix, and it has to definitely have a people perspective into it. So when we say matrix, when I was talking about scorecard, you should rely on that. But at the same time, there are many soft skills which will never be measurable, right? So scorecard is definitely simply putting those numbers that this is what you were supposed to achieve, this is what you have achieved. But if at all you ask a manager that are your team members happy, do you think you would be able to write you have 10 team members and 8 are happy out of it? Probably everybody would say, looking at the manager, yes, we are happy, and behind him they would say, no, we are not happy. So there will always be a mix. You have to, and when you are talking about HR, it will always be a mix of emotion, intuitions, and data. You cannot completely go, or you cannot completely flow with the technology, and you cannot leave human aspect of human resource aside. It will always be influenced by people for people, but yes, that has to be supported, verified with the help of metrics, which definitely is nothing but data which is available with us.
Okay. So, your views of driving female workforce in India, as you are very active on diversity engagements in India.
Again, Rupa, a very, very difficult question, because a lot of people, they keep questioning me, being a female, you ever faced a challenge? Or being a female, do you think you literally have to drive these things on? Or you think it's difficult for females to get into a particular role or at a senior position? I always say that yes, I'm not saying that it has been completely removed, but at this point in time, our society has accepted, and organizations or roles are very, very neutral. We do not have gender biasness anywhere. At least, I mean, I will not talk about what I have read, but I'll just talk about what I have experienced. I have never seen people around me. I have never spoken about, just because you're a female, yes, you can take a leave on Friday if at all you have to go and take care of your kid. But because you are a guy, you cannot take a leave because you have a female at your place and she'll take care of your kid. So those things we have never ever mixed. I think it's a high time when people should realize, and people should talk only about capabilities and performance. You have to take any individual as an individual, not as a female or a male person. In fact, we have changed our interview process, Rupa, where earlier we used to say that you can do a face-to-face interview, And a lot of managers, they used to come back and tell us, she's a female, I don't think she'll be available at 11 in the night when we have these calls. Can you please schedule few more guys, we would want to interview male candidates. We stopped it, and we said that fine, we will say X candidate is appearing, this is the educational background, this is the or project experience. You interview and tell us there are a lot of multiple tests. Just understand what they are capable of and tell us whether we can go ahead with this or not. It's a very neutral approach that has helped, and I think organizations or society in general is working, and I think we all are looking at a factual data which talks about diversity at a much bigger level. It's not restricted to males and females these days. It's a open culture. Every organization is an open organization where everybody is talking about equal pay, equal right, and individuality. Nobody is talking about male and female. So I don't think we have to worry about women at work or women empowerment. We just have to worry about our skill sets, our expertise, our capabilities, and the passion that we hold to get to that level.
Well said. So moving on to the another question, why companies need a creative leaders for the future of work, and how to make such creative workforce in any organization, Ankita?
I think everybody would need good leaders. Everybody will need good mentors. Creative, active, passionate leaders, these are few characteristics, but leader is a leader. If at all you can walk the talk, if you can be passionate about things, if you can be transparent about everything around you, when you have team members, you can clearly share that this is the bigger picture, and in this picture this is where you are, this is how you will be contributing to this organization or to my team. It becomes easy. So imagine bunch of people without any direction, they are just walking, probably everybody will reach at different place. But if at all you have a person who can tell them that that's the destination, these are the resources we have, this is the time that it may take, but if at all we all collaborate and we all decide what we are good at and what we will be able to do, probably it will become much easier and they will be able to attain that task or attain that goal with much ease. So that's the beauty of a leader. And more than that, I have always believed that team leader is nothing but a team member. You can't just stand outside and say that, you have to do it. You just be with the team, just understand, tell them that, boss, if I'm here to guide you, but I just can't do anything until and unless you execute it. You also, so today when we talk about leadership, it is not one way. Never today, when we talk about creative leader, we will never have a leader who will use monologue. You always have to be participative. You have to understand what the other person is saying, what the other person is expecting. That individual leader has to accept that you have 5 team members, they are all different, they all have to be treated differently, they all have to be awarded differently. That's the beauty, that's the basic characteristic of a creative leader, and that's the reason they are so much needed in any organization, in any team, and even at home. We creativity is nothing but being constructive, where you can just put everything which is scattered around, you can just put it one place and tell them that this is why we exist, not why I exist and you exist, but this is why we exist, and let's do it together.
Okay. So, can you share your thoughts on corporate social responsibility, as it's important for any organization, and specify your firm, how do you share how it's contributing to such kind of engagements?
Surupa, in my initial presentation, I already shared where we think unemployment rate is really high, and that's our key focus. Wherever we think we can connect and collaborate with not so privileged people, we can just train them. There are a lot of sectors or villages where these guys, they go to work, and females, sisters, spouse, they're all back at home. They all can at least read. They know A to Z. They would probably not be able to frame a sentence, but they know alphabets, A to Z. Where they don't know, that takes just a couple of months to train them. And then we give them this work where they can, do data entry job. Obviously, you may expect that they should do it really fast and they should give it back to the organization on time. We don't do that. We give them enough time to learn, understand, and really, come to that level at their own comfortable pace. But that's what we are doing with respect to employability. That's with respect to employability. Then we have specially abled people who cannot walk, and probably who cannot daily commute. So we are using them also, who are 10th pass, 9th pass, who can type, who understand sentence formation. So be it in content management or for data entry, we are using them. So this is how we are helping with respect to employability. And again, for environment, as I said, on birthdays, or if at all there's any client visit, we do not give gifts, but we ensure that we plant a tree for each of our employees, and we gift it to them. And at local level, whatever that particular location employees, we believe in ISR. So CSR kitty is different. We have internal communities where we push our employees to think in the direction. They have their own groups formed, and they keep doing a lot of things at state level or city level. So yeah, this is what we are doing, and I think it's really important. No matter how big or small it is, but at the end of the day, when you go back home and you sleep, you always have that smile on your face that maybe a very small contribution, but at least I could do something. So it matters, and it helps a lot.
That's really nice of you, Ankita. Some interesting opportunities, for the students to explore the career opportunities with Signix Datamatics, both technical and in non-technical roles for the students.
Yes, so technical as well as non-technical, we have enough opportunities. We are still hiring, but as because of COVID-19, recruitment has definitely gone low. But we are definitely not releasing people, and we are hiring people. And one thing that we have to understand, it's all as per the work requirement, as per the client. So whenever you need people, you will get them in the system. Fortunately, we are in that phase where we are recruiting for a few of skill sets. We are engaging with students, and we have them for internship with us. And at the same time, few freshers have joined us. If at all, and I keep saying this, probably situation is bad for everybody. We may be able to take 5 interns, and we may get application for 500 interns. So it's not that others should not and will not get option anywhere. It's just that you have to understand that it's not only about money. Probably not each organization will be able to give you stipend, but if at all you are getting that opportunity, please grab in that opportunity and join in. If at all anybody is facing any difficulty, do get in touch with me for internship. But freshers, at this point in time, we are actively not hiring. We have taken a few from few colleges, and few who reached out to us on LinkedIn and other social media platforms, saying that they seek help. But internship, we are still open, and if at all we can help, definitely reach out to us. With respect to job that Rupa mentioned, please visit our website. Do see what do we cater, what are our expertise. Wherever you think you can contribute, please do apply. And that's the reason at the end of the presentation I shared the recruitment ID with you, that if we can be of any help, we'll be more than happy to do that.
You can also type in the chat box so that the people could note it down, Ankita.
Yeah, so I will put my email ID. Somebody is asking for that. And so here you go. That's my email ID. Just feel free to send in. But yes, my only request would be, just because situation is such and we think that we have to do an internship or I have to get a job, that should not be the approach to send CVs immediately or to reach out to a person. As I said, whenever you want a job or internship, please read about that organization, understand what they are into, check with relevant people where you can help, and do you actually want to be part of that organization. If the answer is yes to all these 3 4 questions, definitely send your CV and I'll be more than happy to help.
Last question for you from our side, Ankita, is that you're a role model for all of us. You have won many awards, including top 100 HR leaders from Forbes. Can you share some success mantra with the students and young professionals?
um, I think what you are doing, what all students are doing, the way we are surviving this pandemic, I think everybody is a hero, looking at the situation. But I think when things are a lot more regular, when things are very okay to handle and go ahead with, I would say there are a couple of points. First, always be real. Just because world wants you to change, do not change your identity. Do what you like, and when I say real, I mean don't pretend. If at all you are not good with engagements, don't say when you go for an interview, don't say that I'm good with this particular thing, because you may pretend it for a few hours but you will not be able to take it forward for rest of your life. Today or tomorrow it will be right out there and it will be a problem for you. So first and the foremost thing is be real. Second is there's no shortcut. So hard work is critical. You have to work towards your goal. You can't say that, I think, or I should put it in a other manner. All these successful people or all these leaders, have you ever come across a sentence where they said, it just happened, it just happened that I became this, or it just happened that I have this success story? It will never probably happen. You have to make it happen, which means you have to literally work hard for it. When we read those statements, 8 hours sleep is important, probably yes, when everything is settled. If at all you are still running after your dream, you cannot afford to have your hobby time, sleep for 8 hours, take your long breaks. You have to literally manage your time well. You have to have a chart. Nothing should be, in the air. Probably, yes, I thought I will do it, but I missed. You have to make a note. And students, I mean, it's so easy, and I know you are doing it every single day. Whatever you want to do in your life, please make a note of it and have a diary with those dates. Put it on that particular date, so even if you miss in between, that day will remind you, you know what, you were to reach here on this particular date and you have not even started. It will be a direct push on your face where you will be made to realize by yourself that this is what I didn't do. And trust me, nobody other than you would know yourself better. Nobody other than you can show you the true mirror or what your capability or limitations are. So always trust yourself and do hard work. And last thing I would say, always have a mentor, always have a person you follow, because only that will, in a way, motivate you to reach there, and you would know how that person talks, what that person has done in his or her life, why, where that person started, and how that person reached that level. These are few very important things, and that will be a live example for you to refer. And if at all you want to become a same person, you will always have a path to follow which is predefined for you. So always do relevant things, have a relevant mentor, where you think, I really, really get inspired by this individual, and if given a chance in my life, I would want to become like him or her. If you think to that level, it becomes much more easy for you to just go after him or her, and probably cover the same kind of journey. And as they said, even if you want to reach out to moon and you don't get it, you will definitely not come back with sand in your hand. You will be back with few stars. So it's always good to follow your dream. If you have given your 100%, if you have done everything that is possible, it will never disappoint you. So I think, yeah, Rupa, those are the 3 points, and that will take us to the place where we want.
Yeah. Are there any suggestions for the faculty and educators also?
Suggestion that I keep giving. See, we are full of millennials now, and companies also know, organizations know that by 2025 or 2030, millennials will be highest in numbers. When we talk about gig economy, these students, class of 2020, class of 2021, they are very creative, and there was a time when I joined an organization 20 years back. I focused on getting salary so I can take care of my life, because I was staying away from my parents. So essential should be taken care. What salary I am getting? Oh, at least finally I got a job. Today, millennials are much more sensible. They are much more passionate than what we were, and that has to be respected. And second thing, they would want to know why you want them to do this particular thing. Can that be done in some other way? So again, I'll go back to that question. Whenever we expect something, we need to ask that why. So, somebody was recently telling me that earlier we were saying that no mobiles are allowed inside the class, and then there are messages floating around. Now the entire classroom is inside your mobile phone. So things change, and we need to understand excess of anything can be bad, but at the same time we have to find that right balance. We have to tell them that this is what should be done by you, and if at all you go in this format, this is how it will benefit you. And especially for all the seniors and for all the professors, or all the senior guys who have joined for any institution, I would say we need to, at this point in time, if at all we really want to help students, we have to bridge that gap between demand and supply, what companies are asking for and what we are giving them. So they need to collaborate really well with the organizations, and they need to understand what they want. Because we make something and we try and sell, it becomes difficult. But at the same time, if we take those prescribed orders from the organization, that these are the students, this is the number, they should qualify this much, their percentage should be this, on softer skills they should be good with this, their communication should be good. All these criterias when are set, it becomes easy for you to manage your students, and it becomes very easy for students to just appear and get through the organization. So that's one thing. They have to reduce the gap between the corporates and college to the maximum level possible.
Okay, let's move on to the audience questions. Ankita,
Yes, sure.
there's one raised hand.
I don't see any question. Do you see any questions?
Yeah, Ospita, student of Dr. B.C. Roy Engineering College, speak up. Hello.
I think she raised her hand long back when we started the session.
Let's go for some questions. There are questions over here. There's Ananya Ghosh from Dr. B.C. Roy saying, ma'am, do you think that due to this COVID and work from home, less people will get jobs in IT sector?
No, because it is never driven by work from home or work from office. It's always driven on client requirement and the kind of project we are in. So work, it's not only about COVID. Trust me, work and from. So out of these things, only work after some time will be noticed and talked about. From would not matter. If you're working from home, if you're working from a train or a bus or from office, I don't think when we are in a phase which is very soon to come, when we talk about boundaryless organizations, we will have any existence or any correlation, direct correlation with this work from office or work from home. So don't worry, no jobs will get reduced because of work from home. It's just that work of place is place of work is changing. Nothing other than that.
Next question from Rajat Kumar, student of Chandigarh University. How does online learning affect our health, and can we do to reduce its negative effects? Especially the eyes are getting strained. So in that way, yeah, the health as perspective is asking.
Definitely. So there are so many, exercises that you need to do. I mean, as simple as how many times you have to blink your eyes while you are staring continuously at a screen. What kind of breaks you should be taking? You should be taking a small walk. What kind of things you should be saying? Probably just stepping out in your garden or just in your balcony and see how are things around you. So anything, as I said, excess of anything will be bad, and balance, anything that is done in a balanced way will negatively not impact you. So try and find. I know when you are studying, you are in front of your laptop almost throughout the day, and then we watch TV, then we are playing games on mobile phone. So there's no escape. So can we say that we will just be online for 2 hours, or we'll be looking at screen for 2 hours? That's practically not possible. Not only for students, for none of us. Every probably out of 24 hours, 14 hours we are looking at our screen. So just keep yourself hydrated, keep yourself healthy, keep doing those small exercises. Those are recommended, and that will definitely help.
Okay. Next question is from Arun, a student of Wells Institute of Technology and Management. IT sector, considering software, mostly uses online services even at offices. Now, instead of office, they're working in the same fashion at home. The only thing that is missing is a physical meeting, replaced with the video classes. Does it really affect?
So a lot of employees, when we did a survey, many were happy that now things are online. Many were sad that why things are online, and something that a classroom training can do, these online trainings would never be able to achieve that. Which, to an extent, I agree. That depends on the nature of the training. So when you are doing an outbound training, or when you are doing a team bonding training, and you think that these platforms will help, definitely not. For that, it is much feasible to be with each other, and that will make more sense. But I think it's just the phase. Looking at the current scenario where we cannot get all employees together, e is the only option. I mean, you can just go use digital platforms. But once things are normalized, I think, and I assume that most of the organization, they will find a right mix where individuals have to do a self study, and they have to go ahead with these certifications. They will definitely go for e-trainings. Wherever they know that a group participation is required, they will definitely go for a physical one. And at the same time, I'm sure, as I said, now it's not about work-life balance, but work-life integration. You don't have a set time for yourself. So today, if at all I have 15 minutes, I'll open my phone and I'll do a course like the one which I did from you know uh, which is the one I did a very short course recently, and there was the one which I did for Exhilarite. It was 6 months course, but I was allowed to do it at my own pace. So whenever I had 15 minutes, I did that. Whenever I had half an hour, I read about it. Whenever I had 1 hour, I invested that. Imagine working as a full timer, or for you people who are there, who are right in front of their system studying, and then we tell you, no, you have to do it today itself. It becomes next to impossible. So whenever there is no timeline required, and at the same time you have to give comfort to the employees that whenever you get time, please finish it, because definitely it will help your profile. Those things will be more seen online. So it will be a combination.
Okay. One more happy thing I would like to share with you, Ankita. In the community dashboard, I could see more than, the audience are thrilled, and I could find more than 1,000 plus likes for this session.
Thank you so much. I think your questions are such, and people are such. I have always loved interacting with students, because by default they come up with a very positive mind and an open heart. So yeah, it's all fun.
Next question is from Anoma. What does digital transformation really mean for today's business leaders?
Digital transformation for leaders will be review, redesign, and reset. So everybody is already in that digital mode. Further transforming it to your need is nothing but understanding where you are. When we talk about global positioning system, you first understand where you are standing, which are the options, which are the roads ahead of you, what's your destination. Just because other company is doing something, or just because somebody else has adopted these platforms blindly, no leader will go ahead with it. At least sensible leaders, they will never do it. They will understand the company, they will understand people's need, they will understand the culture of the organization, they will understand where they are, how much of external things are needed internally, what should be moved a level up. They will do all these things. They will do a proper analysis, and that's why I said they will review the current system, they will redefine if required, and if that reboot button has to be pressed, they'll do it. Otherwise, most of the organizations, they have already taken that path of digital transformation long back.
Yeah. Let me request one thing from your side, Ankita. Put across a small question to the audience and let's see their energy levels. This would be the last question from your side to the audience.
Wish you would have given me some more time, but okay,
Anything
so
of randomly.
sure. So let me know. My first question was, how many of you are tensed and worried? My last question is, how many of you are hopeful that things will be fine and you have to just believe in yourself?
Audience, please type the questions in the chat box. Let's see the responses. I think, okay, myself.
Me, yes, I am. Good. So, I mean, after vaccine, yes, me too, hopeful, excited, yes. So see, I mean, Rupa, the answer is already here. I know. I mean, we all know that we are going through a rough time, but it's a hope. You know, uh, we are just hopeful that things will soon be back after COVID. Vaccine will be out, things will be back to normal, and we will be able to explore and excel. And yes, I mean, I'm happy to see that born to be a hopeful man, always be positive. I mean, these things can always bring so much happiness and smile on your face. And it's not that we are giving a session or conducting a session for them, but in a way, that's what I walk back after this session with, that I met a very hopeful, positive lot who is sure that very soon we'll be out of it and everything will be fine. Things will be fine. We have to believe in ourselves.
Let me
Of
put
course,
one question to the audience. How was the session? Just type quickly now. Time is running out. Only we have 10 to 15, 10 more minutes to wrap up. How was the session? Ankita, you also could view in the chat box the responses.
yeah,
Awesome.
I can see
Okay.
it.
Great. Okay. Useful. Excellent. Okay, they are full of energy. That means, okay. Okay, Ankita, thank you so much for your valuable time and inputs. I believe our audience would have enjoyed this session. I could see the responses in the chat box, as of now. I would also like to thank participants. Could you just be on mute, Ankita? Yeah. I would also like to thank participants from companies like Infosys, TCS, HCL, Wipro, Honeywell, Amazon, and foundations like Anudeep and Ambuja Foundations. We have colleges like IIT Delhi, IIT Kanpur, IIT Kharagpur, IIM Lucknow, IIM Indore, IIM Kozhikode, NIT Surathkal, SRM, and universities like Lovely Professional University, GD Goenka, North Cap University, Chandigarh University, ICFI, JCRC, Manav Rachna University, Galgotia, KL University, Wales Institute of Science and Technology and Advanced Studies, Christ University, Maharaja Agrasen College of Technology, Nanda Engineering College, Amrita Vishwa Vidyapeetham, Jaipuria Institute of Management, Amity University, Dr. B.C. Roy Engineering College, Siddhaganga Institute of Technology, Srimati Shushila Devi Institute, IBS, Shanti Business School, Vigyan Institute of Information and Technology, BMS Institute of Higher Education, College of Engineering Pune, Maulana Abdul Kalam Azad University, GS Lohia Girls College, the Heritage School, Eluru College of Engineering, Andhra University, JNTU Hyderabad, Vishweshwaraya Institute of Technology, Parul Institute of Engineering and Technology, Walchand Institute of Technology, Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar University, Diyalbagh Educational Institute, Katpakam Academy of Higher Education, Vadodara Institute of Engineering, Institute of Technical Education, Shiksha or Anusansadhan University, Silicon Institute of Technology, the Government Women's Engineering College, NRI Institute of Technology, Microtech College of Management and Technology, Sri Indu College of Engineering, Vidya Jyoti Institute of Technology, and we also have schools like Sunbeam, Varuna School, Ashok Leyland School, Mahendra World School, DPS International, Genesis Global School, Amity International School, ST Public School, Mogadevi Minda Memorial School, and Kamla Nehru Public School. Thank you everyone for your valuable time and active participation. Is there anything to say, Dr. Ankita, before wrapping the session?
Yes, I think I forgot to tell you the wonderful work you are doing. I thought the list is never ending. May you get more colleges associated. The cause is so nice and so much needed at this point in time to bridge the gap that we were talking about between corporate and colleges. You and your team, everybody is doing amazing job, Rupa. So thanks a lot for your contribution. I think nobody is doing better than you. We are probably just here. We could talk for some time, but you are creating that platform which will definitely help them in long term. So thanks to you and best wishes to your team. And thanks a lot to all these students and participants who could join. I think this was one of the best sessions for me also, full of energy and a lot of questions. But going back with the one sentence, which is we are all hopeful and things will be soon be back to normal and we will be able to be back to our happy mode and excel further. So congratulations for all these positive thoughts and best wishes for your future.
Thanks a lot, Ankita.
Thank you.
So we look forward to see you at our next session. Our next session would be on 18 July, same time, with the eminent speaker would be Ms. Monica Mehta, who is the Executive Vice President of Wadhwani Foundation. Wadhwani Foundation is a non-profit organization with the primary goal of accelerating economic development in emerging economies by driving large-scale job creation through entrepreneurship, innovation, and skill development. Founded in the year 2000 by Silicon Valley entrepreneur Dr. Romesh Wadhwani. So look forward to see you at the next session. Until then, stay tuned. Have a happy weekend. Stay safe. Stay home. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye.